All right, gang, gather round. Let's talk murder, shall we? Specifically those cases where the evidence is less about fingerprints and DNA and more about, well, the afterlife lending a helping hand. Yeah, you heard me right. Murder investigations are supposed to be all about hard evidence, witness testimony, the nitty-gritty stuff. But what happens when the star witness is the victim themselves, back from the great beyond, to point a ghostly finger at their killer? Throughout history, there have been these eerie, unexplained cases where the dead seemingly helped crack their own murder cases wide open. Dreams, apparitions, you name it. It's enough to make you question everything you thought you knew about death, or at the very least, make you sleep with the lights on. So buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into 10 of the most chilling cases where the voices of the dead refuse to be silenced. Let's get weird. Our first stop takes us to Greenbrier County, West Virginia in 1897. Picture this, a young woman named Elva Zona Heaster Shue, known to her loved ones as Zona, is found dead in her home. Now, the death itself was suspicious, but the cause? Ruled as everlasting faint by the local doctor. Yeah, you heard that right. Everlasting faint. Zona's mother, Mary Heaster, never believed for a second that her daughter died of anything natural. She insisted something sinister was afoot, that her daughter's husband, a blacksmith named Erasmus Trout Shue, was somehow involved. But without any evidence, the authorities dismissed her claims. Mary claimed that Zona's ghost began appearing to her, revealing chilling details about her death. According to Mary, Zona's spirit claimed that Trout had broken her neck in a fit of rage. Armed with this ghostly testimony, Mary convinced the prosecutor to reopen the case. An autopsy was performed, and wouldn't you know it, they found evidence of a broken neck. Trout Shue was arrested and charged with Zona's murder. In 1977 in Chicago, Teresita Basa, a Filipino immigrant, was found murdered in her apartment. She had been stabbed and her body burned. The police had no leads. Remy Chua, her co-worker, had disturbing dreams. Teresita appeared revealing her killer, Alan Showery. Remy informed the police. Showery confessed and was sentenced. Our next case takes us to Scotland, to Greyfriars Kirkyard, home to the infamous Mackenzie poltergeist. Known as one of the most haunted places in the world, it began when a homeless man sought shelter in Sir George Mackenzie's mausoleum, a 17th century lawyer infamous for his brutal persecution. He claimed to be attacked by an unseen force. This was full-on poltergeist activity. Paranormal investigators flocked to the kirkyard, eager to contact the angry spirit. During one investigation, a medium received a whispered message, John Coffey. They discovered John Coffey had gone missing decades earlier. His remains were found in an unmarked grave within Greyfriars Kirkyard. Chapter 4. The Curious Case of the Ghost Bullet. In 1913, Andreas Bichel had disturbing dreams of his deceased sister Carolina. She repeated, "Look in the bridge," urging him to investigate. Andreas reported this to the police, who surprisingly took him seriously. They found a skeleton under the bridge, clutching a bullet. The bullet matched Carolina's fiancé's gun, who then confessed to her murder. Chapter 5. The Phantom of the Lake. Our next tale takes us to the sunny shores of Lake Worth, Texas in 1981. Hallie Latham Illingworth disappeared suddenly, leaving behind her husband John and a whole lot of unanswered questions. John claimed that Hallie had just up and left him, but her family wasn't buying it. They knew Hallie wouldn't just abandon her life, especially not without a trace. But without a body, the police couldn't build a case against John. It seemed like he was going to get away with murder. But then, the sightings began. People started reporting seeing Hallie's apparition, always near the lake. Some claimed to have seen her walking along the shore, her white dress billowing in the wind. As the sightings persisted, the police decided to investigate. They dredged the lake, and wouldn't you know it, they found Hallie's body. John was arrested and charged with Hallie's murder. The case of the Phantom of the Lake became a local sensation. Chapter 6. The Chatroom Confession. In 2006, a woman using the screen name Stars joined a chatroom frequented by psychics and paranormal enthusiasts. Stars claimed to be able to communicate with the dead, which, in a chatroom like that, wasn't exactly a unique claim, but Stars had a certain specificity to her messages. She began providing details about a missing person's case that hadn't been released to the public. One of the chatroom members, Susan, was particularly taken aback by Stars' claims. Susan's brother had gone missing a few months prior, and the details Stars was providing eerily matched his case. Susan contacted the police, who, despite their initial hesitation, decided to investigate. Following Stars' detailed instructions, the police went to a remote cabin in the woods. And there, just as Stars had described, they found Susan's brother, alive but shaken. The case of the chatroom confession made headlines around the world. Chapter 7. The Murder of Bridget Cleary. Let's rewind the clock to 1895 to a small village in County Tipperary, Ireland. Bridget fell ill, and her husband Michael, convinced that she was possessed by a changeling, took it upon himself to perform a rather unorthodox exorcism. Michael claimed that he was simply trying to drive the evil spirit out of his beloved wife, but the villagers weren't buying it. After Bridget's death, strange things began to happen around the Cleary household. Villagers reported seeing Bridget's apparition, often weeping and pointing towards the spot where her body was burned. The rumours of Bridget's vengeful spirit reached the authorities, who were already suspicious of Michael's story. Michael was found guilty of manslaughter and sentenced to prison. Chapter 8. The Red Barn Murder. Our next stop takes us to the Suffolk countryside in England, 1827. This is the story of Maria Martin, a young woman who went missing after a secret rendezvous with her lover, William Corder, at a local landmark known as the Red Barn. Maria's stepmother, Anne, began having vivid, disturbing dreams. In these dreams, Maria appeared to her, leading her to the Red Barn and pointing to a specific spot beneath the floorboards. Anne confided in her husband, who, skeptical yet concerned, decided to investigate. He went to the Red Barn and, driven by his wife's dream-induced instructions, began digging beneath the floorboards. And there, to his horror, he found Maria's body, buried in a shallow grave. William Corder was immediately apprehended. During his trial, Anne's dream revelations played a crucial role in securing his conviction. Corder was found guilty of Maria's murder and hanged for his crime. Chapter 9. The Ghost of Frederick Fisher. Let's journey back to 1826, to the bustling city of London, England. This is the story of Frederick Fisher, a wealthy merchant who vanished without a trace, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and a sizable fortune. Suspicion immediately fell upon his business partner and supposed friend, John Thurtell, but there was no evidence linking John to Frederick's disappearance. That is, until a local farmer named James State came forward with a chilling tale. James claimed that he had been visited by Frederick's ghost while walking home one night. According to the ghost, John Thurtell had strangled him and disposed of his body in a nearby pond. John Thurtell was arrested and charged with Frederick's murder. Chapter 10. The Ghost Who Spoke Twice. Zona Hester Shue. Remember Zona Hester Shue, the Greenbrier ghost from our first story? Her story doesn't end with her husband's conviction. After Trout Shue was imprisoned, sightings of her ghost didn't stop. Zona's spirit continued to appear to travelers, warning of dangers. Her spirit became a local legend, a symbol of compassion and protection. Outro Beyond the Grave. So, there you have it. 10 chilling cases where the dead seemingly spoke from beyond the grave, their voices echoing through dreams, apparitions, and inexplicable clues. Are these cases simply eerie coincidences, or do they point to a realm beyond our understanding? A place where the boundaries between life and death blur, and the dead find ways to communicate with the living. Skeptics may argue that these are just cases of overactive imaginations, confirmation bias, or simply people trying to find meaning in the face of tragedy. But there's a part of me, a small flickering candle in the dark recesses of my soul, that can't help but wonder. What if? What if, just maybe, these cases offer a glimpse into a reality we don't fully understand? A reality where the dead don't always stay silent, where their voices can reach out and touch the living, sometimes seeking justice, sometimes offering warnings, and sometimes, just maybe, reminding us that death, as mysterious and final as it may seem, isn't always the end of the story.